Yo, anyone still here? Anyone still here? Or am I pretty late? Any of you guys played this yet? Oh, you have? You have played this game? Well, I guess I'm the one who's late to the party then, because this game came out a while ago, but I finally got my hands on it and finished it. 100% completion. I know I'm super behind in reviewing this game, but better late than never. Consider this your disclaimer. I am not a gamer. As a matter of fact, before last year, I didn't play video games for around 10 years. I think the last video game, again, before last year that I bought was the first Transformers movie tie-in game from 2007. So you can see why I didn't play video games for 10 years. I don't even have a capture card. I'm literally just going to show you clips that I take off the internet. So thank you to everyone who unwillingly let me use their clips. Also, don't expect such an in-depth review of this game because I don't know anything about interface, DLC, pay-to-win scenarios, this, that. I don't know this terminology. I don't really know anything about any of that. I just know the answer to one question. Was this game fun to play? Absolutely. I loved this game. One thing I really like about this game, Insomniac created an original Spider-Man story, one that we haven't seen before, that kind of takes elements from the comics, from the MCU, and all of the above to kind of, and even other video games like Spider-Man 2, which I did play back in 2004, and it kind of wraps them all up into one. It takes the best thing about the comics, the movies, and the video games and makes it, and basically just mixes it all into one. Now, the concept of an original Spider-Man game isn't anything new. We've seen it in Shattered Dimensions and any of the other ones that I can't remember, but a lot of those seem to flop. So what does this bring that those other games didn't bring? And let me tell you something, there's a lot. One being the graphics in this game are second to none. Again, some of you other gamers out there might be like, oh, but this game has better graphics. If you look at this other game, the Spider-Man graphics aren't even that great. I don't know. This game has amazing texture mapping, amazing voice acting, and amazing intuitive gameplay. Swinging around the city is so much fun, you don't even want to do the missions half the time. Swinging around the city is so organic and is such an extension of your own body that it creates a feeling of weightlessness that is just absolutely awesome. I mean, you just love swinging around the city. And let's just get to the map. It's huge. It's amazing. I don't know if it's as big as the real Manhattan, but it certainly feels like it. I know that there's like 12 boroughs in New York and there's only a couple of them here, but it's really cool to explore like this shortened mini version of Manhattan that still is not very mini, and there's a lot to explore. The way the game is made to where you can kind of organically just learn the steps of how to play Spider-Man from the beginning all the way to the end, it's a very easy learning curve from where you start to where you finish. And fighting bad guys never gets old. It just never gets old in this game. And it's really cool to use things like the environment to kind of trap bad guys, and you can use your plethora of gadgets, which that is a new thing that hasn't really been explored in other Spider-Man games as far as I know. It's just the amount of gadgets. The amount of gadgets, and obviously you have to unlock most of them, but once you do, it's so much fun to use against the bad guys, and that is really cool. And let's go to the bad guys. The bad guys are really fun to play against, and again, it takes a lot of inspiration from the comics and the movies and the cartoons, the TV shows, everything you've known about Spider-Man, and kind of brings in the best of all those worlds. Spider-Man has been Spider-Man for almost 10 years at this point, so he's fought a lot of villains, so you don't have to trudge through the origin story again. You're basically just thrown into the action of what makes Peter Parker great, and he's already fought some of his major villains like Mysterio and Electro and the Lizard and all that stuff. So it's really cool to see you fight new bad guys and some of those old OG villains. One thing that Insomniac really took care of is the story. The story of this game really is the main reason to buy this game, because swinging around the city, as fun as it is, it can get a little repetitive, and doing crimes around the city, although you do get points and tokens and experience and XP, whatever that is, you do kind of get tired of it, so you really do need to buy this game for the story, at least in my opinion. The story is what really sells this game, because the story is amazing, it's intuitive, it introduces characters from the comics that you love, and new interpretations of the characters, like Electro and Tombstone, and all these people who kind of have new redesigns that are really, really cool. And Rhino especially too is really awesome. One thing that's awesome is that you get to play as other characters other than Spider-Man. You get to play as Mary Jane and Miles Morales. Usually you don't do anything like extravagant with them, but those are more like puzzle solving and stealth missions, especially that Miles Morales stealth mission with the Rhino. That just straight up turned into a horror game at that point. I was on the edge of my seat playing that level, and that was just a really, really, really cool level. And the amount of detail from said source material that is thrown into here and little Easter eggs is just absolutely amazing. To see the Wakandan embassy, to see Avengers Tower, to see Nelson and Murdoch and Alias Investigations and the Bar with No Name and Rand Enterprises. I mean, the list goes on. The amount of Easter eggs in this game is absolutely awesome. You feel like you're Spider-Man, and that's the one thing that really sells this game for me, is that it makes you feel like Spider-Man. I know I just said I haven't played video games in 10 years, but I would visit friend's house and play for like 30 minutes at like a friend's house or something. I have played Shattered Dimensions for like a little bit, for like 30 minutes, and I remember that 30 minutes years ago. I still distinctly remember saying, I don't feel like Spider-Man swinging around the city. I don't feel like Spider-Man playing this game. I felt like Spider-Man playing this game. The redesigned suit is awesome, and the fact that you can unlock all these different suits from the comics and from the movies is just so great. You have so much fun unlocking all these suits with all these different abilities and all these different skill trees that it's so cool to play it. Again, I know that this isn't very in-depth, but I'm not a gamer. I don't know jack shit about games, really. I just know if they're fun to play, and this one was really fun to play. There's only a couple nitpicks I don't like. First off, even though the swinging mechanics are great, they're second to none, sometimes I feel like they did get stuck. Sometimes I would hit a building, especially during chasing missions, like when I'm chasing the Shocker or chasing Taskmaster's drones around. I felt those missions to be very frustrating, because sometimes I would hit a building and then start crawling, and I would want to just jump off of that building and continue swinging, but instead it would just get all finicky, and then I would have to readjust really quickly while these drones are getting away. That could be a little frustrating, but again, that is just a nitpick. My only complaint about the story, honestly, is that it's not longer, and it's pretty friggin' long, but man, I just loved it so much. I wish there was more to it, and I can't wait for Spider-Man 2 to come out so we can finish some of these loose threads that are thrown at you at the end of this game. One of my major things I really didn't like, and I know this is probably just because I'm not smart enough, anytime I had to reset a circuit or do something that involved a circuit breaker or defusing a bomb, I absolutely hated doing those things. Again, maybe it's just because I'm not smart enough or I don't have enough patience to deal with that crap, but I felt like I was in math class every time I had to do one of those things. I would honestly just kind of goof off and replace things that didn't even really need to be there until the skip option came up for those things. That's my major gripe about that, but that's more of a personal gripe than a gripe against the game. I look at other people playing that and they finish those circuit breakers in like 2 seconds. For me, I hated those things. But those are my major gripes with this, which is honestly not even a gripe. It's more of just nitpicks or personal things that just involve me and have nothing to do with how great this game is made. Shout outs to Insomniac and the developers for making this game so much fun to play. This game is just fantastic. Subscribe to my podcast below. Let's all go to the lobby. And also, I have a new short film coming out soon. So the link to my short film channel, my more serious channel, I guess you could say, is also in the description. Please go get this game if you haven't already. It's absolutely fantastic. From a non-gamer, I give this baby an A+.
Talk to you later.
Go.
Love seeing you two together again. You always were my favorites.
All right, clever catchphrase again. See you later.